What's up, everyone? Adrian here. Welcome and stay a while. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Today's episode is going to be on perspective. Yes, we are on episode 9, and I thought it was a perfect time to do perspective because in the next series, so we're almost wrapping up the first series, episodes 1 through 10, where it's really me sharing my perspective and my viewpoints on a lot of these topics like buy-in, presentation skills, and whatnot. Episodes 11 through 20 are going to be me interviewing someone else and getting their perspective on those different topics. So I'd be really excited to get somebody else's viewpoint on those. So those will be coming out next month. Take a look out for those. But for today, we're going to talk about perspective. And I'm going to try and focus more on perspective when it comes with your clients. We're going to have a nice meeting scenario and talking through how to leverage perspective within that meeting scenario, but really splitting it up into 3 parts. Number 1, we're going to focus on you. We're going to focus on your internal perspective, and really starts with your why. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Number 2, we're going to talk about external perspective. So that's when we're going to get into that meeting scenario and go through how to have perspective and leverage that within that meeting. And then lastly, we're going to wrap it up with having perspective within your own organization, right? So knowing where you stand within your organization and having enough perspective to feel confident about yourself and where you stand within your organization. So we'll talk a little bit through that. We'll wrap up with that. But in the meantime, as always, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks. What's up, everyone? Welcome in again. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Today, we're going to talk about perspective. So let's get right into it. I'm going to go through an overview real quick on perspective and then share with you on perspective internally, right? Perspective externally, and then how to leverage perspective within your own organizations. But perspective is very important when it comes to sales because it's where you're going to generate your own self-awareness. And again, it's important to have self-awareness when you're going out to sell. So focus on that. And where I learned the most about perspective was a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's almost like my sales Bible. I have extensive notes on that book, and I always go back and reference it anytime. The best analogy that they use for perspective in that book is imagine that you're wearing a set of glasses, right? And the lens in which you see through those glasses is how you see the world. That's your reality. So imagine that everyone else in the world, there's about 6 billion plus people on this planet, and everybody has their own reality, which means there's 6 billion plus realities out there. So everyone sees the world through their own lens. So if you look at it that way, perspective is being able to take off your lens and put somebody else's on for a change to see how they view the world. That's how we're able to communicate with people, collaborate, and understand them and have empathy for them. That's how you're able to put yourself in other people's shoes, is taking off those lenses and putting on someone else's. Now, some of you naturally do this well. Some of you are born with that empathetic gene, are very empathetic to other people and know how to take off your glasses and put yourself in somebody else's shoes, but others are not. So when we're selling, it is important to be able to do that because you're selling to so many different types of people and individuals that come from different backgrounds and see the world in different ways than you see the world. So when you're in meetings, which I'll go through in the meeting portion, take some time to get a little bit of insight as to what their perspective is so that when you're selling to them, you're hitting all the right points and you're not off base. So remember, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's one of my favorite books. It's a top 10 book always. It's on my top 3 list. And it's a great book that talks about perspective along with a lot of other great ideas as well. All right, jumping right into it. Let's start with number 1. and that is you. Let's start with you. Okay, what's your perspective look like right now? And it's really, most of it comes from your why. So your why is everywhere, right? There's a book that's called "It Starts with Why" by Simon Sinek, and it's a great book as well. We all should have some sort of why or motivation as to what we do. So a lot of times when I meet with people in sales, I always ask them, why are you in sales? So ask yourself, look in the mirror and ask, why did I decide to choose a career in sales? It's important to know that, so that when times get dark, when times get tough, because sales is hard. It's not easy. If it were easy, everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be making a lot of money doing it. It's very challenging, but it's also very rewarding. So again, times will get tough, and you're going to get, people are going to say no, you're going to embarrass yourself in some presentations. So it's important to have something to come back to keep you focused and keep you going. So ask yourself, what is your why? For a lot of people, it's money. People join this sales career because, again, it's very rewarding, and it's, if you're consistent and good enough at it, you can be rewarded very well in this career. But it's also challenging. So money is a big motivator for others, but find something outside of just money that will motivate you to keep going. I'll give you an example of my why. My why has changed throughout the years, and that's okay too, because as you get older, as you get more experience, your perspective will start to shift. Your perspectives will start to change. That's normal. It's a part of growing up. So in the beginning, my perspective was very different than in what it is today. I was really motivated by money. I was motivated by just being the best. I was really competitive because I came from sports. I played college sports, so I just wanted to be better than my competitors. That was really my main motivator. But as time went on, that really changed. And now, having kids, I have two girls, and that has really shifted my why as to them, right? They are my why. I want to be somebody that when they grow up, they can be proud of and proud to call their dad. So when I go out and sell, when I go out and work, I really focus on that. And I just want to be the best version of myself, and trying to uplift others and help others as much as I can, and just not just be so salesy all the time. So that's my why. Take some time to figure out what yours is, what motivates you, because it's really important when you're taking on this career and going through the challenges that you will for sure go through. All right, number 2, let's focus on others. So this is the meeting scenario. This is where you're going to sit down and meet with a prospective client. It could have been someone that you met at a networking event. It could have been a client that you've been working with for a while, and now you're coming in to learn more about the organization. Whatever it may be, when you sit down in this meeting, you want to ask as many discovery questions as possible. Because what discovery questions do, it allows you to learn more information, not just about that individual, but that organization as well. And this is where perspective comes into place. If you have perspective, right, good self-awareness, you're going to ask productive discovery questions and not just fluffy discovery questions. So when you're meeting with a decision maker and you don't know anything about them, get to the bottom as to what motivates them. Where do they come from? Why are they positioned that they are? Why do they choose the career that they're in? What's their background? What led them to the scenario that they are in today, which is meeting with you on a potential new project, whatever it may be? But really get to the root as to what motivates that individual, what that individual doesn't likes. Ask as many questions as you can to really get to know them and develop a closer relationship with them than just a surface level fluff relationship. And then once you get to know that individual well enough, then we get to the company that that individual works for. So now let's understand how long the organization has been around. What's their mission statement? What are they proud of? What's their value proposition? Are they growing? What has attributed to that growth? Congratulations on that growth. And where do they see themselves moving forward in the future? Because you need to understand what their future looks like so that you can align yourself with that as well and help them get to where they want to be. Or vice versa, you might find out that, hey, their vision, their mission, their values don't align really with what we're trying to do. So maybe this is not a good fit. It's okay to say that as well. You don't want to fit a round peg into a square hole. Okay. You want it to be a good fit as well. So be real. Some of these meetings, you will find out that, okay, we're probably not a good fit, but thank you for your time. And that's totally fine. They'll respect you for that. Sometimes it may even connect you with someone else and actually generate a lead from that. But say you have connected, it's a great fit. You've learned so much about them. Now, when it gets time to your pitch and your presentation, you've got so many great answers from those discovery questions that you asked, so much great information that you can create a productive presentation and proposal that's going to hit on all those marks that they brought up because you asked effective questions, because you got to know them on a deeper level as opposed to a surface level and asking just basic questions that you may have gotten off a script from your company. So remember that when you're in a meeting. Perspective will really help you dive a little bit deeper and get closer with your prospective clients to give you that much of a higher percentage to win that deal. All right, number three. Number three is your company. I was debating on doing this or not, but I think it's really important. I know in the beginning when you first start your sales career, it's maybe not as important. But as you continue to grow and gain experience and build leverage, this becomes really important. So having perspective within your own organization means that no matter what your title is, no matter what your colleague's title is, no matter who you're talking to within your organization, titles don't matter, right? It's important to have respect for the title, but don't treat the person any different because of the title. So this goes for you too, right? So if you're the VP of sales, don't treat the account executive and account manager any different because you're up here. You've been down there, so you understand. Vice versa, if you're the account manager or you're an account executive, you don't need to be intimidated in a meeting with a VP of sales or with the CEO, because at the end of the day, everyone, we all have the same shit that we deal with when we go home, right? We all have lives outside of what we do on a daily basis. So titles don't make us any different. We're human beings. We're all dealing with different issues. So don't treat anyone different within your organization based on their title. That's what I mean by having perspective within your organization, knowing where you stand. This mindset will help you create more confidence within yourself so that you can feel like you belong in any room within that organization. That's how you should feel, whether you're an entry-level sales rep, you're just a cold caller, an account executive, whatever it may be. You should feel like you belong in the room all the time, because that confidence will come off and people will notice that. And that's what people look for when they're looking for those leadership positions. It's somebody that can take command of a room and really, really show that confidence. It's not cocky at all. It's just knowing what your worth is and knowing what you bring to the table. And what helps is taking titles out of it, right? So when you meet someone, an individual, take the title out of it: HR manager, marketing coordinator, because that's not who they are. You are not your title. They're not their title. They're just an individual that may have, a big family at home, maybe dealing with some stress. And this is where perspective, right? Empathy comes into place. It's understanding that sort of stuff could be happening outside of your day-to-day, work life. So that's really perspective when it comes to internally, when it comes to your own organization. So to recap, we talked about your why. If there's anything you remember from today, it's your why. Take time, look yourself in the mirror, figure out what your why is. Number two is that meeting scenario that we talked through is making sure you really dive deep and get to know who you're meeting with and get to the bottom as to what motivates them, and also understand that they have lives outside of what they're doing right then and there. So have empathy for that as well. And then lastly, we wrapped it up with having perspective within your own organization. Best way to remember it is we're not our titles. You can be talking to a CEO, VP of sales, account manager. It doesn't matter. We are not our titles. We're all people at the end of the day, and always feel like you belong in that room. That's it for today. As always, please feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and also keep a lookout for that interview series coming out here in the next month. And if you have any suggestions as to who you'd like to have interviewed, I'd be more than welcome to take those suggestions. But thanks again, and take care.